Yes. Okay, welcome. Final week. How does it feel? I mean, I love the fact that we've come to the end of the journey, but I'm also going to miss these sessions because I love talking about these things. And thank you for being here. And of course, this session is recorded, so whoever couldn't make it, you'll still listen to what I'm going to be sharing here in this session. And thank you, Sally, for you ticked off all 5 weeks. So, special thanks for you. And so. I'm going to be like, let's get straight into this week's content, and then I'm going to like wrap it up with the whole, capture the whole thing for all 5 weeks together, so we can wrap it up that way. So this week's contents are anything that you want to share. What is it that you could apply, some clarification, anything you couldn't understand? Shoot.
I found that this week, when I watched your video where you went through the grown-up steps, the GROWNUP, what I found very useful in your video was where, first of all, you gave examples for your personal life, and then you gave examples for research. And having those examples brought it all to life for me, and it was like, now I know what that really means, and I see what that is. The be, do, can't remember the other two. Be, do,
have and share.
Have and share.
Yeah.
I think I like the grown up because to me it was more step by step. But the be, do, again, when I watched the video of you talking through the examples, that really does help. So I encourage anybody who hasn't got to do that yet to do that, because those examples just bring it all to life, which is really helpful. Thank you.
And do you have any questions? Thank you for sharing that. Do you have any questions?
I do have a question. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Here we go. So what I've realized from the past 5 weeks, we talked a lot all the way through about goal setting. And so I was rereading some things on the discussion board and found that Lisa had brought this up as well, that can find it challenging at times to set time frames to goals, even when I've broken the goal down into smaller pieces. The hardest thing is to know how long something was going to take, because I've not done this before, so I just don't know. And so therefore things usually take much longer than expected, or there's an outside interruption that I have no control over, and that takes time to deal with it. And that can throw all that timing off kilter. This has led to, in the past, some misunderstandings with one of my supervisors who didn't want to hear why I haven't met a deadline. And that's just eroded my confidence quite a bit and made me feel quite discouraged, because I try my best, but life can get in the way. And so my question is, I'm wondering if you have any tips and tricks around setting realistic times to the goals, even the ones you break down. Because that's where it's like, I get to that bit, you've set your goals, you know what you're doing, and it's like, well, now put a time next to it, and I haven't a clue.
Okay, cool. I do have some tips there.
Brilliant.
So what I usually do, it is like, okay, let's do the work, and then I'll do research, like a PhD deadline or something. Yeah.
Thank you.
So when it comes to work, there's usually, when we have a meeting or discussion, you always want to know, when do you need this by? And or when does this need to be done? When is the event that is gonna, so you have some kind of a date there, right? If there's a meeting that you need to prepare for, if there's an event that you need to prepare for, or if there is something that they want you to, do some write-up on, you straight away ask, when do you need this by, right? So that would be the ultimate deadline. So what I normally do when I have an ultimate deadline, I bring forward my personal deadline. So which means if let's say, for example, you have an event end of October that you need to prepare for, some art writing or blurb or something like that, So if it's end of October, the way I would arrange my deadline would be middle of September. So that gives me the 2 weeks of contingency plan or contingency, anything that happens, life gets in the way. So at least when it does get in the way, I know in the back of my head, the actual deadline is end of the month. So I still have 2 weeks, I can play around it. So I
Brilliant.
bring my personal data. So if, let's say, my confirmation seminar, not confirmation, sorry, final seminar, May next year, I actually brought, like, I have to get the full document done by March. So I've given 2 months contingency because, when it comes to writing 80,000 words or 100,000 words, you can't do it in 2 weeks. And there's just no way you can do it in a month, kind of thing, right? So I gave a 2 months contingency plans. If something don't go according to plan, I have 2 months to plan, or if I have to apply for extension, if I have to discuss this with my supervisors, if I have to, change some other plans or reduce, so big decisions has to be made. So I put a 2 months space there. Same thing if we have short-term goals, like little things like, oh, you need to submit an article for review by next Friday. Then you bring it by next Wednesday, I'm submitting this. So your brain needs to register that you're doing it earlier with the thing in mind that if life gets in the way, and if let's say life didn't get in the way and you manage to get it done by Wednesday, 2 days bonus, isn't it? So that 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months become the bonus. So that's where I will then start putting in place other deadlines, like there may be something that is not urgent, I can start working on it. So this is also easy, sounds great, but what if you have multiple deadlines in the multiple hats that you're wearing, and they all are important and they all are urgent and all has to be finished at the same time? So what then I do, it's like I set a certain time of the day where I progress in each thing at the same time. So that means I have to write my chapter 4. I want to finish up that article, just the last conclusion there. And I want to be able to prepare for this. Let's say you got 3 things, right? So what I'll do, it is like my top 3 goals for today will be this, this, this. But I will get this one done so that I can send it for review. I will get this one done first because it is in my hand. I don't need anybody's review. I can still do it tomorrow morning. So I will then divide my day where, okay, and then I will think about how actually, realistically, how long do I need? And what I'll do, I'll actually go by the maximum hours.
That's
So
where I'm
let's say,
stuck. It's like when
yeah.
you say, how long do
So,
I need? And
mm,
I think I need a day or I need a week to do this. And
mm,
suddenly it blows out to be a month
yeah.
because didn't realize it would take a month.
Yeah. I mean, like that happens because that's where things go beyond your control. Like even when you're doing an analysis, right? I thought, okay, I'll get the data, I'll do analysis for a week or two, no, it takes 6 weeks, it takes 8 weeks, and it takes multiple rounds. And I had no idea when that happened, right? So when that really happened, what I could do, it is like I would look at other things in my list in life, what I can put off, what I can postpone, what I can skip, what I can sacrifice. Because we all have so many hats we wear and we have so many things. So there were some concerts I really, really wanted to attend. And then I had to reprioritize. You know what? If I get this one done, and then after this big milestone, I'm free to do whatever I want. I'm going to be a social butterfly if I want. But now this is my priority. So then it really comes down to the priority. And sometimes, yeah, you do skip deadlines. Sometimes, it's just like you wake up in the morning and you feel this terrible headache. And what do? So
Go back to bed.
you can't help it. And this kind of thing, you cannot just say that life has to be everything, like every hour has to be planned, right? Sometimes I tell myself, okay, I'm going to go to bed early and I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m., but never happens. And then, and then I'll end up waking up at 7, and then I'll go like, oh, the weather is good. I'll put some wash out. And then by the time I see to my desk, it'll be 9. Like, oh, my original plan was 6, So things like that happen. So when those things happen, what I'll do, I'll have short lunch breaks. I will not watch something I was planning to watch this week. I will not have, the call that I was going to make to someone, So then there are other things that I do during the day that I can go like, you know what, I'm just going to not do that today because I want to make up the time.
Yes. I'm very interested. You just said the words. So you look back at your list and you can think, what can I skip? What can I put off? What can I prioritize? And what I can sacrifice. And I think that's what it's that balance. And the word sacrifice, I think that's a great way to discuss it, because I think I can say that to my family is, okay, I didn't get enough work done this morning, so I'm going to be working this evening. So we'll put
That's
movie
it.
night off or watch a movie I
Yeah.
don't want to watch. But the
Yeah.
other thing,
That's what I do. I get them to watch
yeah,
something that I don't like to
I
watch.
don't want to watch it. And and talking about this has just reminded me of a way I got through my honours years ago, was to break the day into 3 parts. I've got morning, I've got afternoon, and I've got evening, and to work for 2 of them, work diligently for 2 of them, 3 to 4 hours on each. So if I do want to take the morning off, I then know I have to have afternoon, evening. If I want to go out in the evening, I work morning, afternoon. If I'm sleepy in the afternoon, I know so that worked towards the end of getting my honours thesis in. So
There you go.
maybe that's something else I
That's
could
it. That's it.
plan around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See, for me, I'm an owl, and I work more
Mm.
productively in the night. So there are some, but then it's not good. It's not a healthy habit. And my husband
Yes.
is always on to, because he's an early bird. So he wakes up at 4 a.m. and that's when I might just hit the bed. So, so I told him just one more year, because my supervisor also said, don't try to change your body clock at this crucial time. Just stick with what you're good at and productive and efficient, and just get that one done, right? But then what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a balance. So that means there will be 2 days a week that I will do the night work. So the toughest thing, the biggest thing that I need to get done, and without any distractions, without anything, it's middle of the night for me, works perfectly. So there will be 2 nights in a week where I'm gonna sleep late, and there will be other nights that I will go late, but not not as like after like a 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. So then I started looking at which is my productive hours. So I could be sitting all day trying to do this, not spend time with family and not do anything, and then sit and do and say that I'm working, but I'm not productive. But so there are some weekends, what I have done in the last few weeks, it's like I watch a movie or two, I go out for lunch with them, and we go for shopping together now. So we do all these things, and then I burn my night to get my work done. And I feel in the 6 hours, the whole day I spent with them, the 6 hours I get to do a lot of work done. And then I sleep in the next day because they are there to do the cooking and everything. So, it just
It
worked out
works out.
perfectly.
And it's
Yeah.
guilt free as well. It means that I can take this evening off because I have worked Monday and afternoon.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's good
So
too.
that is
And
how you learn to
so, how do you,
balance things.
when you said that you thought your analysis might take a couple of weeks and it turned out to be 6 to 8 weeks,
Mm,
that tripped me up as well. And now I realize, yes, but I also need to give myself time to
mm,
really absorb and synthesize and think and go for walks
mm.
and let things, um, percolate. Because I've never done this before, I didn't know it would take so long. So is that something that you just got to run past your supervisors or your
Yeah.
peers, or how do you find
Yeah.
out that sort of
That's
thing?
what
Just
I did.
ask.
Even
Okay.
now, because I'm moving into my final year, I don't know how many people I have asked, how long did it take for you to write these chapters? How many chapters have you got? Do you have a separate chapter on theoretical framework? How long did it take? And then it's like, for you to submit the full document, how long did it take, how you write chapter by chapter and everything, but putting it together, you need a kind of a cohesion and all of that. So how long did you take? Some people were saying that they took 2 weeks just to fix their references. You know, that's another thing, because your EndNote or your anything can play up as well. So they actually had 2 weeks. So then I just went like, oh, wow, okay. And then I asked my supervisors, how long does it take to do a quantitative? Because mine is mixed method. So the qualitative took forever, which I didn't expect. Then I said, how long does the quantitative one take? So when you say factor analysis, how long will that take? So so whenever I have a coffee or a social drink, so as much as I picked on my senior's brain, now a lot of people are picking on my brain. It's like, they want to go like, do you want to have a coffee, Santa? I want to really talk to you. And then they'll go like, so how like, and when they ask me, I have a smirky smile inside my heart, because that's exactly what I did when I was starting out, so how long did it take to do your confirmation document? Sometimes I like to work thinking that miracles do happen, because I'm a very positive, optimistic person, realistic, not just blindly optimistic, so I'm realistic as well. And I like to believe in solution mode. That means that when there's an issue, when there's a challenge, when there's a problem, there's always a solution. There's always a solution. Or I will see it from the brighter side. So a simple example, when it rains, right? Rains heavily. People will go, oh, I was going to put my wash out and it's raining and I can't get out, I can't go here, and it's not under indoors and things like that. And for me, it's just like, my garden is getting water. One, I don't have to water it, and another thing, I can save my water, so that's immediately I see the positive side. And when it rains, it's cold and cozy and it's nice, and I can have a hot cuppa. So I look at all of that kind of feeling. And when it's really hot, which I hate, I don't like summer. But then on the other hand, I'll just say, okay, like, what is it that I can do when it's hot? So I can put my wash out, I can put my linen out, all kinds of things that, so I always look at the solution mode on a positive way. I remember there was a time that when I first started my PhD journey, I stuffed up on, not stuffed up, I was stuffed around about the theoretical framework. And by the time I got everything done, I only had about 2.5 months to work towards my final documents. I only had one chapter written by then, and that too theoretical framework, which is not a compulsory chapter. So someone was telling me in the room where we were sitting and writing that it's impossible. You should go for a leave of absence. You should apply for a leave of absence. There's just no way you can get this done. But that negative words geared me. You know how the negative gearing sometimes? So because she said, she was so strong about it, and then she came and said, I'm sorry for being sounding so negative. I'm just being,
Your
sorry?
mic has been disconnected to another Nokia something.
Who, mine?
I
Nicola, are
can
you
hear
talking to me?
Santa.
Selva, I think your mic changed to a different
Yeah,
item.
but Sally can hear me.
Mhm.
We lost someone who was
We
here.
can't
Yeah.
hear you. Your mic is not activated, Selva.
Oh, okay. Sally, you can hear me?
I can hear Santa very well. So, Ola,
I'm
does that
just gonna
help?
type. Yeah, I'm just gonna type.
Sure. I'm taking notes too, if that helps.
Yeah, okay. I can remove it.
It's me. I
Can you?
hear you now. Oh, good. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
Brilliant.
cool.
That's okay.
That's
No,
all
no,
right.
it's important.
All good,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
good.
yeah.
We
So that
lost Karen. I don't know what
negativity
happened.
from somebody, yeah. So the
Mm.
negativity of someone saying you're not going to be able to do it. So it could either deflate you completely and you stop, or you can go, well, I'm going to prove them wrong.
I'm going to prove them wrong. And that prove them wrong, it's not something that I have to use my energy to prove them wrong, but I was going to put that energy to prove myself right, that I can do this, that I got this. Because you know how when you're always driven by proving people wrong, it takes a lot of energy. That means you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for them. And that takes a lot of negative energy there. You don't want that. Like you're nodding there. So whenever you feel the need to prove someone wrong, show what you need to prove of yourself. To yourself. That means I'm going to prove it to myself that I can do this. And I did. I did in 2 months, not even the 2.5 months. And yeah, it was like, I was so driven because I saw the possibility. I said, I believe in miracles. I'm going to make it work. And I made it work. So, when you say yes to yourself, you somehow will have to make it work. The how will take care of itself. That's what it is.
That is incredibly helpful because it's really good to hear that somebody else has experienced something like that. The negativity.
Yeah. I mean, like,
That's one reason I'm doing this whole unit.
There you go. Because you see, that's the thing about human beings. And we're all driven by emotions, right? But some people's emotions can affect us. And what we need to do with this knowledge that we have now is how we're going to turn it around to make it work for us. See, I'm someone, you hurt me, I will still smile. I'm not going to show, I'm not the one that, oh, slap me on one space and I'll show you the other. No, don't slap me. But if you're going to say something that's going to hurt me, I'm going to not react how you're expecting me to react. And that's going to hurt you. Isn't it? So it is like, it's more like a silent treatment, like I don't believe in shouting and screaming, and I don't like punishing and things like that. For me, it is like silent treatment. When I don't like it, I go quiet. And when I go quiet, just don't disturb me, so I'm processing it, and I'm processing it in my way. I don't want to process it from your way. I want to do it in my way. So that's the control that I always tell myself, I've got my remote control. I'm driving my car, just do it. I'll give you some examples, as we go. So let's still on us first screen there. Where did that happen? Okay. We talked about the fear and the limiting beliefs. Is there anything you found from that?
Okay, so we had to do a poll and choose which of the things are limiting, and I straight away wanted to go, everything, of course it is. But then I thought, you know what, maybe not everything, but my limiting belief and fear, if I can find that page, well, it does affect my confidence, and my fear of judgment is what I picked, because, I mean, there is a little bit of the fear of failure or rejection, a bit of self-doubt and limiting beliefs, and a bit of procrastination, well, probably a lot, and lack of motivation. But I thought that the thing that actually affects me the most is that lack of confidence. And so when somebody, and I think of it as like how do you get a donkey to move? Do you do the positive, give it a carrot, or do you hit it with a stick? And I realized that, especially when I'm dealing with a lot and my brain is completely full with family stuff as well as with a lot to do with PhD, I respond really well to carrots. So one of my supervisor is the best carrot person. And then every now and then she might prod me with a stick, but she's prodding me with a stick whilst giving carrots. And so I feel at the end of those supervisor meetings fired up and wanting to do it for myself, for her, because I've had the positive reinforcement as well as the encouragement, and I can see what direction to go. Whereas another supervisor is a stick supervisor. And I can see where that could come in if needed. But sometimes when you're very vulnerable or you're dealing with a lot, a stick can just beat you into the ground. And so I found this year, it just took away all my confidence to have stick after stick after stick. And so anytime I produced any work or sent anything through, that lack of confidence was, I'm going to be judged and nothing I do is going to be good, because all I've heard is being whacked with a stick. So I've realized that I've got to look at things, as you said, how can I turn this around to motivate myself and help myself to move forward? And I do realize I can step back and go, well, where are they coming from? And it is a personality thing, and it is a style. And once I realize, you know what, it's actually them, not me, let's take what I can, but also stand up for myself to say what I need. So it's only taken me 5 months to get to this stage. But anyway, so the other thing that this whole thing has helped me see is that other people are feeling what I've been feeling too. That if you've got it written down here, it's not just me feeling this lack of confidence. And I do remember back in week 1, you said confidence is something we give ourselves, not waiting for someone else to give it to us. So, yeah, I'm really hoping that maybe using the grown-up model to, it's almost to disassociate myself from what I've got to do. And again, that, you know, it's like, okay, this is how I'm feeling, but this is what I've got to do. So now let's just click into professional mode and let's get on and do this. So ask me again in 6 months and I'll tell you how it's going.
I will. Because you see, the thing is that sometimes, remember, the person who's actually throwing, hitting you with a stick is the one who's going to make you stronger.
True,
You're
but
going to get...
sometimes if you're already down, being hit by a stick is hard.
Yeah, but that's where you need to reframe. You need to reframe that. You cannot think I'm down so that they're putting me down. You got to go like I'm up. Keep hitting me, I'm going to get stronger. So you have to reframe, even if it's a visual reframe that. See, if, I'll give you a simple example. Children, right? Like when my son was doing competitive swimming at a national level, he, as a mother, I was the carrot and the stick. I'm going like, here you go, carrot. That was well done. Or so proud of you. And then, all that beautiful words. And I go like, if only you focused on that, kind of things, a room for improvement, some kind of a suggestion. You'll be like, yeah, 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 yeah. But he was seeking for my husband's acknowledgement because he was the stick person. So when the stick person comes down and go like, well done, he appreciated that more than all those encouragement I was giving. Because for him, getting that well done from the stick person was a big thing. So for him, getting his father say that was good, even though I could say that was brilliant, but just getting the good out of his father's mouth was something that it was his goal.
So yes, going back to what you just said earlier, it's I'm not going to prove them wrong. I'm going to prove myself right.
That's it.
And I think that's brilliant. There is that song Titanium by Sia, I think it is, that, shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. So I had that on replay several times. So something like that. Yeah.
Something that works for you on a positive way. But remember, for me, like I have two supervisors who they complement each other so beautifully, like, the carrot and the stick, kind of thing. But the person who throws a stick, she told me very first meeting, she told me, I can't do flowery language. I can't sugarcoat. I'm straightforward. I'm blunt. I'll tell you when it's bad. I'll tell you when it's good. And I just, so you can't expect all this flowery encouragement, hugs, kind of. And I love so instead of saying like, oh, I wish I had that kind of supervisor, I just went like, oh, look at the honesty there. This is a wealth of knowledge. And she's like upfront telling me. And then she said, if you want me to correct you on this, tell me. If you don't want me to look at your grammar, just want me to look at the content, just tell me, and then I'll go. So we had kind of a deal. So the first few months, I struggled. Because it was just all these corrections with no good. When it's good, you don't see anything. Like but the other supervisor go nice, good, well done. But this supervisor would not. Another problem, another one. Kind of thing. So so what then happened is when I came towards my confirmation and when I finished my confirmation, she saw me differently. Because she saw another side of me. I was presenting this whole story. She's like, wow, that was like, I've been into that many confirmation for the last 20 years. I've never seen as good as yours, the way you presented it. So her view, so now it's not like the supervisor-student relationship. It's more like we are a research team relationship. So then I felt, you know what? I proved to myself that I can do this. Now you have seen it. And now she knows what, so she tells me things like, you're not very good at rehearsals, but you're great at performance. So I hope your next draft is your performance.
So it sounds like you actually earned her respect.
Yes. And then so instead of, so now it's just like, I'm one of those, like, am I there yet? Am I there yet? Kind of things. I have, so when she says you've nailed it, that means I've passed. I graduated, that kind of feeling. So I wait for that. And for that, I put in a lot of effort and believe that I can get that. I can earn that. So we have to reframe our mind. So now we have a different relationship. Now I can laugh with her, or I can say things like, so when I said, I'm going to record our sessions, it's like, you're going to hold it against me? Yeah. I said, I might play it during our final seminar. So I wouldn't dare talk to her like that when I first started. Wouldn't dare. Everything was like, yes, okay, sure, okay, okay, yeah, got it. This is all I could do. The whole meeting will be like that. But now we can have conversations. And now she knows that I can do it, and I'm someone who does in the last minute and get it done, kind of thing. So now when I disappear, so only if it takes very long, she'll go like, are you there? Kind of an email, just checking up on me. If not, I'll go like progress update from me. And I'll say, life got in the way with all these things, but I still progressed on this level, but not on that level. So I explain myself. So they don't push me because they know that I push myself. Makes sense?
And it also sounds like she's actually listening and hearing you. So when you say life gets in the way, she actually respects that you are mature enough to manage that yourself.
That's it.
Yeah.
So she will not say, oh, I feel bad, or nothing. She will say like, all good. That kind of like just one word, two words. Whereas the other one, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that you had these issues, kind of thing. And I like the balance. It's good. So, and sometimes, so I went to the other person, I feel like I'm giving up, my work, and so that I can get it done. So she was giving me a different insight. So we have different conversations with, so all my work-related, research-related meetings are together. And then sometimes I'll have coffee separately. So in that coffee time, sometimes we have lunch together. So it's more of getting to know each other and one another, and also, to share other things outside the research world. So then they know that I am not just the researcher here. I've got other hats that I'm wearing. So it gives them better
Thank you,
understanding.
That's really, really helpful. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
that's what
Yeah.
that's the way we have to now switch. So now this knowledge that you've got is for you to learn how to switch that into what will work for you, get into the solution mode. What can I do to make that difference? Make sense?
Brilliant. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So you see, when it comes to also limiting beliefs, I just want to share with the others who will be listening to this recording. There's an example of when it comes to limiting belief, it's not something that is just turned up. Right? The lack of confidence may not be just like that because of this research. It could be something that has rooted from a very young age based on other examples. Maybe you would have done an art drawing and your teacher didn't acknowledge you enough. Maybe you did the best, essay or something and your teacher didn't give you an A for it, kind of thing. So it would have rooted from a very young age that get embedded with all the evidence you have been collecting all your life. Okay, I'll give you a simple example. I had a client. I had a permission to share this. Like, when she came to me saying that she doesn't have confidence, she always doubts herself. She thinks that she doesn't deserve anything in life, and she's just not good enough for anything. Not good enough, right? So she was in her 50s by then. And then I said, like, let's go back. When was the first time you felt that you're not good enough? So should we kind of rewind back, right? And she said, I got this huge promotion at work and I declined it. So who would decline a work promotion, right? And she said, I felt that I'm not good enough to earn that. So I went and told that, please, I don't think I'm ready for it. Give it to someone else. When she had this long-term boyfriend who proposed to her to get married, she felt that she can never be a good wife or a mother. So she declined that and she became single since then. So she sabotaged herself, because of this belief that she had. Then I said, you know what? It wouldn't be just then you would have felt. I said, let's go back. Just close your eyes if you have to. Just let's go back to a time when you first in your life felt, I am not good enough. And guess when it was, when she was 6 years old. And we're talking about in her 50s now, yeah? So I said, just keep your eyes closed. Tell me what happened. And she said, a single mom was working so hard. And so what she wanted to do to help the mom was to set the dinner table and have the clothes folded. So when she opened the door to the mom and walked in absolutely feeling tired, looked at the table that has been set, and she said, oh, thank you so much. And, gave her a hug and acknowledged her for doing that and everything. But she also said, this is not the way you do it. So she rearranged it. She said, this is how you do it. And then she went into the room and then she saw the clothes being folded. She said, oh, you're so sweet. You're so thoughtful. Thank you so much for doing this. But this is not how you do it. So she undid it and folded again and told her, this is how you do it. So the mother here, with the best intention, acknowledged her, hugged her, and validated her actions and everything. And also went into the educational mode on how to do it in the better way, on a right way. Yeah. But the child, the 6-year-old child, missed that point. She felt for the first time in her life, I'm not good enough. No matter what I do, my mom is not going to be happy or feel that I'm good enough. So that child was living in her with that thought, collecting all these evidences and sabotaging the rest of her life with whatever good things happening, and she would go, I'm not good enough. You see what happens? So this is when a child, being a child with a lack of experience, start loading more information there. So she goes to school, like I said, hand in an art form, and then the teacher gives her a C, and then instead of what she thought she would get an A for. So she felt like, oh, I'm not good enough at school. So I'm not good enough at work. I'm not good enough with life. So and then I said, so who is making that decision? Is that the child? Or is it that adult? She just stopped and then she cried. I had to hold the space for the next 15 minutes because she was crying and crying, because that is decades of her life just lost because of that one thought. And the child keep reminding her, remember, you're not good enough. You're not being loved. You're not, you're going to be judged. You're going to fail. You don't belong here. So all this fear and limiting belief just got embedded in her and then got her to sabotage her life. So that is where limiting belief can affect. So this is when we as adults now sometimes have to look back, okay, whatever our parents or teachers did at the best intention, with their best intention, but maybe have been transpired into a different interpretation by the child, not the adult. Because at least the adult will go, I don't understand what you mean. And then we can argue about it. But the child wouldn't do that. So for example, another example is like, I don't know whether I shared this before, like when my son was enrolling into going into an orchestra when in his primary school, they said, okay, expression of interest to join in orchestra, the string orchestra. So he put in like, I want to learn violin, just like my dad, I want to play violin. And then we got another letter to the parents saying that, oh, we only had about 48 spots, but we had 150 applications. So can you please talk to your children and ask them what will their second instrument be, right? So if it's not a string orchestra, do they want to go into a band or something like that? So plan A doesn't work. What's plan B? Normal thing at work. That's what the school thought. For me, it sounded like fair enough. If you can't get A, you get B. So I went and asked my son, who was only 8 years old then, right? So I asked him, I said, okay, if you can't get into violin, what do you want? What's another instrument you want to play? That 8-year-old just turned around and looked at me and said, so you don't trust that I get in? I know, the same reaction. The same reaction. He just said, you don't trust that I can get in? So you have no confidence that I will get into the orchestra? See how he interpreted my plan B. But what I was very happy is the fact that because we had, from young, we talk about a lot of things. Like with my son, I never treated him like a baby kind of thing. We just talk like, and so that's why he was able to express that immediately, turn around and tell me, so you don't trust me. But if he didn't tell me that, if he started believing like my mom didn't trust me, the school didn't trust me, and that's why I had to go into another instrument, he would have lacked the confidence to go even do the audition well, because he already have it in his head. I can't get in this. I'm going to do the second instrument anyway. And because nobody trusts me. See, he's going to go with that. But because he expressed it, I knew that what we said with the right intention, with the best of intention, has been misinterpreted because he's only an 8-year-old child. But how many conversations that doesn't take place between the parent and the child, or the teachers and the children, that people grow up and they come to a midlife. That's why we have midlife crisis, because it's just like suddenly, who am I? Why am I doing this? I don't even enjoy my work anymore. What am I doing? Why did I do, kind of thing. I don't like this. I don't like that. I'm on a crossroad. I don't know what to do now. So this is why, because from young, you've been living that child inside you. And then suddenly the grown up going like, I'm tired. What's going on? But why is the child still existing there? So what is it the child needs? The adult's confidence, like, you know what? I'm confident I can do this. Why don't you go play? Why don't you go have some fun? So that's what the child need to do. So that's why we don't want to kill the child. We don't want to ignore the child. But we just want to make sure that they're being acknowledged and do that the fun part in our life, because we need the child alive for that. And another example also, we have, I have another friend, she was going like, oh, it's, I always say, like, who's driving your car? Is it you or the 6-year-old who's driving your car, kind of thing. And as one time I said, okay, now close your eyes. Just describe me your car. And then she was, describing green, this car, the model and the make and everything. I said, get in the car. And then she said, yeah, I mean, it's just like a visual thing that we were playing with. And then I said, okay, so where are you sitting? And then she said, on the passenger seat. You see? I said, you told me the last 10 minutes describing your car. Why are you sitting on the passenger seat? Who are you waiting? Like, you're waiting for someone to drive you? Or you are going to drive your car? And then she said, oh, yeah. And then I said, get on the driver's seat. And then she just sat on the driver's seat. And I said, okay. And then I said, just for curiosity, is anyone else sitting in the car? And then I just went, and then she's like, yeah, my parents are sitting in the car. I said, oh, interesting. So what are they doing? And then she said, my mom has her hand on my shoulder while my dad is looking out at the window. So it is more like the mom as usual, the carrot, don't worry, my daughter, I'm here for you. And then the dad is going, I don't know what you're up to in your life. And I'm just, I don't know what to say. And I'm not even going to look at your face. You see? Then I'm going like, why are they in your car? She said, exactly. Why are they even sitting in my? So what do you want to do? He said, and then she said, I just pulled over a nice cafe. And I said, enjoy your day. And you can't, and then the next few minutes, the conversation was on a different level. Suddenly she was the grown up. She said, I am in my 40s. I don't need my parents to hold my hand, or I don't need to prove to my father what I'm up to. And then I don't need my mother holding on my shoulder all the time for me to lean on. Like, now I'm grown up, I'm going to drive and I can do this. And that's what it is. And then and then I said, go around the roundabout. There was another example we had. And this time I actually got the person to actually drive the car in the roundabout with the Bluetooth on. And I said, like, okay, just go around. And then, first round, second round, third round. And then I go like, what are you doing? And then she's like, I'm still going around. I said, when do you want to exit? Who are you waiting for? Who's going to tell? So what are you waiting for? Someone to tell you to exit? And that's when she went, so this is what it is, isn't it? I have to make the decision and I'm not, because I'm waiting for someone else to make it for me. See, this kind of small little metaphorical visual representation can actually remind you of how we lose control and how we build on that limiting beliefs, and that leads into fear. Does it make sense? And that's what I like this saying by Dennis Whiteley. It is like, it's not what you are that holds you back. It's what you think you are not that holds you back. And thinking will not overcome fear. Action. So that's why I always say, go into the solution mode. So when it comes to the be do have model, and I'll every time when you go, like, okay, for example, like, let's say I want to write an article. So who do I need to be to write that article? So I need to be focused. I need to have some sort of a discipline. I need to have some understanding, so I look at all the things that I need to be. What do I have to do? So I have to write each section, maybe, in 2 days, I have to get one section done at least, 3 days, so I kind of like plan with my SMART module, and then, and how I can play my days on what I need to do. So by being and doing, I have what I want to have. I have the article and I have the review, I have the feedback, and I get what I need to. But then that's when I didn't want to stop. I'm going like, whatever we do in our research, we don't want to stop there. We are scholars, we are researchers, we need to disseminate. We like, what we want to, what we are doing and why we're doing and who it is going to benefit. It is not an article that's going to sit in a journal. You want this to get to the public, to the real people who needs it. Sometimes we talk, there's so many articles about parenting and over-parenting and this and that. Yeah, it's all good. The scholars know about it, but do the parents know about it? Because parents are like, as a parent, like, growing, like when I was younger, I wasn't looking at databases to look for ideas how to raise my kid. Nowadays, you see parents, they're looking for books written by someone who has got no idea, may have raised 4 children, but nothing else. But they don't have any evidence or anything. But so they are seeking advice from, not from their own parents, but they'll seek advice from another new parent. So that's how people are thinking these days. So how do we disseminate your research? Why you are spending 3 to 4 years of your life doing these 100,000 words, doing all these things instead of enjoying your life and putting your feet up and, having some fun. But no, you're doing this research to do what? Just put it in some kind of a journal database and that's it, and have the title as doctor and that's it. No, how are you going to share what you know? So when I was looking at this article, I was already thinking, I remember last time when I was thinking, it's not just writing the article, but I want to get this out. And then, you know how when you put it out to the universe and then something comes back, while I was doing this be, do, have, like, this is what I need, how I need to be, what do I need to do, what do I need to have to do this? And then suddenly I got this email from one of my supervisors saying, there's a social psychology conference, do you want to participate in it and disseminate what you're doing with that research? Perfect. I'm going like, yay, I get to share this now. So this is what it is. Like, you don't just do something for nothing. You just want to make sure that everything that you are and you do and you have, what is it for? What's the next step?
And I think there's also that idea that it's journal or bust, but actually you can write a journal article, and even if it's rejected by that journal, nothing's wasted because you've already thought that through. So there might be another outlet or a talk, as you said, or a presentation or another journal, something like that. Because yes, in my work, I'm working in the field of people living with dementia and how we treat people. And one of my participants, his wife said, you need to go and do this as a job, not just, interview and do research, but you need to teach people what you have learned. And it was like, wow. So yeah, sorry to interrupt there. I realize it's only 10 minutes left, so I'll let you keep going.
No, but that's great. It's a great point there because, because you don't want to write something that is so important for a lot of people to apply and then just put it into some journal database and that's it. Get out there with the credibility that you're going to have. People will listen to you. That's the thing. It's not like you just anyone come in telling, oh, I can say this, but it's like you have done the research, you know what you're talking about, you are an expert in that field and you have the credibility to do so. You see, that will boost your confidence. When your supervisor comes with a stick, because usually the first year, they always say the supervisor rule, are on top of you. Second year, they work with you. And third year, they start listening to you because you become the expert, because you know your topic more than they do now. They can only guide you how to get it written, but they can't tell you what it is because you are the expert on that topic. So so the relationship between supervisors and students changes each year. And I have seen that too. So now let's wrap up. Like, the first week we talked about the self-awareness. You see, my intention for this, the whole module was it's not something that you don't know. Like for some of you, it will be a completely new knowledge. Like I have no idea to think like this. So it's completely new knowledge. For some of you, it is expanding your understanding. That means you're aware of it. You kind of heard about it, but you're going to expand on it. Like, now that you understand even better now. And for some of you, it's an existing knowledge that needed reminders, isn't it? Because you knew that, but you never thought about it that way, or you never applied it. You had that as a theory in your head, as a knowledge, but never really implemented. And as I always say, knowledge is truly acquired only when you implement it. So as humans, we are driven by emotions. And so therefore, this module was actually designed to increase your awareness of it. So now you know, I just got angry there. I just got ticked off there, or somebody just pressed my hot button. So now you become aware of it. And then you know how to manage it. And then you know how to understand where you came from and where they came from. And then you go into how you're going to build resilience from that and improve yourself and your life. So that's why it was designed in this context. And I hope that I have achieved in, raising your knowledge and also paying it forward, because it's not about just learning and keeping it yourself, but the more and more you apply it, the more you will actually create the ripple effect. And then you will start hearing people communicating the same way. And then you all of a sudden you'll realize you're surrounded by people who are becoming positive now because they're seeing it. Because it's not that you're sharing, I'm a positive person, but then you're not. Or sometimes even people who choose to be positive, or they always say that, oh, I'm being positive, are driven by negativity. They're driven by fear. That means if I'm not positive, I'm a failure, so I better be positive, that kind of thing. You don't want that. So now you become more aware of that. And now you know how to manage your emotions. Does that make sense? So life is like an emotional roller coaster, isn't it? It is like, you're up but then sometimes remember, in a roller coaster, when you go down, the feeling, that makes you feel like, the adrenaline that kicks when you go down, you then appreciate what feeling being up there is, isn't it? So that's why sometimes everyone goes through, no one can say I'm the happiest all my life, never had a sad day ever, kind of thing. We always learn the value of being happy when we go sad, when the value of being up there when we fall down. But now with this knowledge, you are able to lift yourself up and go, I can do this. I got this. Yeah. And remember, it's just like, never let what you don't know or what you cannot do interfere with what you can. So now we have come to the end, and I would love your feedback. And I know some of you have shared during the sessions. And hi, Log. I mean, I don't know when you joined us, but glad you made to the last bit. So I'd love your feedback. So feedback, it is like, it's like the breakfast for champions. It is like, I don't want to assume or be complacent that I gave everything, So please feel free to tell me if there's anything I could have improved on, anything that you want covered, so which I could add, in the future. So your opinion truly matters. And I would also love to know, what are the 3 key learnings, at least 3 key learnings, like, in the 5 weeks, what are the 3 things that you learned and you applied and you got something out of it? Like, some sort of like, because of attending this module, I learned these 3 things. So share something. I'd love to know what really struck to people. And I'd love to know what other things that you wish it was covered. And yeah, would love to hear from your feedback. That would be awesome.
So how would you like that feedback? I know there's
there's a link. Yeah, so we will be sending. Yeah, so there's so when you finish, if you finish this one, there was a quiz, right? Yeah, so you'll have a feedback after that. Yeah, so there's a feedback. Yeah.
And could we email you as well if you want to?
Email me. Yeah, feel free to email me. I'd love to, even if you ever, like, in 3 months, 6 months down the road, you use something and you go like, I use this, it was perfect, feel free. I do have some old students who have attended this who still in touch with me because they share, here and there. And feel free to share, feel free to be, be connected, via LinkedIn or via email. So whichever works for you. Love to be, we can, because we could be sitting there 10 years time talking about this, it'd be so interesting. And how it has worked and how we have evolved ourselves.
Exactly. And how long do we have access to these modules on the QUT site?
We encourage you to finish the whole module to get your certification by end of this month. However, access, wait, I'll ask Ola. Yeah, she is.
Yes.
Always she turns up at the right minute.
Yeah, we keep your access until I think it was 1st of December.
Right.
Awesome.
But completions are till 30th
End
of August. If you need more time, just email me and I'll give you extensions.
Yeah,
that might be a really good thing to just email out to people. I've got a friend who's doing this, but things are happening at the moment, so has to put it off a little bit. But it might be really good to say it's open until you've got to do this, but you can still access the modules.
I think the reminder event is coming today.
Brilliant.
Like, I am sending unit outlines for them and then remind how to get
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Now I've got it all done, not only because it interests me, but I'm actually taking off overseas in 2 days. So I'd set this as one of my goals in week 2 was finish this. I've done it. I've finished. I've achieved a goal.
There you go. There
There
you
we
go.
go.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you. And thank you, Lo. Do
Terrific.
you have anything to share? 'Cause she usually types it. So I hope you all enjoyed the ride of the journey of emotional intelligence. So, okay, maybe she's not able to type it. I'm not sure whether she's typing it away and then I'm not reading it. So, yeah. So thank you,
Thank
Sally.
you.
You were my
And
favorite.
thank you. Oh, no, but thank you
This
so,
time.
so much. Just really, really, on behalf of everybody who is here today, I'll thank you. Just lots of resources and lots to think about, and presented in a beautiful way in that watching some of the videos on YouTube has led me to watch other ones and other ones and other ones, as well as these times being able to ask questions and just dig deeper and get more of your knowledge has been really valuable. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
And it's 2:00 and I have to go, but yeah,
Okay.
thank you very, very much.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Senpai,
you.
again, and thank you, everyone. It's really
Yeah, thank you.